Roy John Frisch was born on April 16, 1887. He grew up in Reno, Nevada, and was an Army veteran of World War I. Roy served as a Reno councilman and a county assessor before he took a job as the head cashier at George Wingfield's Riverside Bank. Roy lived with his mother and two sisters, Alice and Louise, in Reno, Nevada. Roy was identified as an important witness in a trial of a swindling ring that allegedly defrauded a hotel keeper, John H. Callahan, out of his life savings of $140,000. Roy reportedly testified in January 1934 to transactions involving the money as shown in bank records. He was scheduled as a key witness to testify in an upcoming hearing against William Graham and James McKay, individuals known for their involvement in illegal gambling and bootlegging in Reno. On March 22, 1934, Roy left his home at about 7:45 p.m. to go to the movies. Roy was dressed in a dark gray suit, gray fedora, and Stacey Adams Oxfords. As he walked to the theater, he exchanged words with an acquaintance. This was the last known time that Roy was seen. In the days following Roy's disappearance, massive searches were conducted, including rivers being dragged. Assistant U.S. Attorney William Licking described the search as, quote, one of the most thorough searches ever conducted, unquote, and stated, quote, there is no longer the slightest doubt that Frisch has been murdered, unquote, on April 18, 1943. When William Graham and James McKay went to trial, they attempted to paint Roy as the individual responsible for the fraud, and their trial ended in a hung jury. In 1935, informants began to indicate that George "Babyface" Nelson was involved in Roy's disappearance. Babyface was known to frequent the Reno area as well as having worked for William Graham in the past as his driver. Babyface reportedly arrived in Reno on March 20, 1934 and left 2 days later, the same day that Roy disappeared. Rumors spread that Babyface had, quote, done a job, unquote, for William and James, and that the job involved Roy. In July 1935, FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover provided additional information related to these rumors. He indicated that John Paul Chase, who had worked with Babyface and was currently serving a life term in Alcatraz, confessed that he was with Babyface on March 22, 1934. John stated that Babyface had waited for Roy in the street and hit him with the butt end of his pistol. He stated that Babyface then took Roy to a garage where he shot him in the head. He stated that Roy's remains had been dumped in a mine shaft, which he unsuccessfully tried to direct the FBI to. Roy's remains have never been found. John was brought to New York, but did not repeat his statements to a grand jury. His account of the killing was reportedly the official version of the killing in the eyes of the FBI. William and James were never charged with Roy's death, nor was Babyface, who died on November 27, 1934. In 1996, a new tip was received by Reno police when a woman who was the daughter of another William and James trial witness contacted authorities to tell them that she had been told by an elderly man that Roy's body was buried in the backyard of what was then George Wingfield's home at 219 Court Street. Apparently this was a rumor that had also been shared by Les Gray, a Nevada legislator in the 1940s. Gray was described as someone with a good reputation and who wouldn't share information unless he had reason to believe it was the truth. This theory was debated. Roy's remains have never been located, nor has he been found alive, and he is still listed as a missing person.